Okay, so now we can start taking a look at jQuery syntax. So jQuery syntax is tailor-made for selecting HTML elements and performing some action on these elements. Basic syntax is you have your $sign and selector, and then you chain your action using a dot. So the $sign is used to define or access jQuery itself. The selector is used to query or find the HTML element, and the action is whatever action or modification you would want to perform on that element. So we can take a look at the document ready event, which we will be using to write all our jQuery scripts. So this is to prevent any jQuery code from running before the document is finished loading. So if you noticed in our previous example, our JavaScript or our jQuery alert popped up before our web page loaded. So this document ready event is to prevent any scripts from running before that web page is loaded. Alright, so let us take a look at an example. So here in our code we can get rid of this alert. Okay, so now we can put our document.ready event, so our $sign, which is used to access jQuery, and we can type document dot ready, and then we're going to put our function. Okay, right, so all our jQuery scripts will go between these opening and closing parentheses. So one quick modification we can make to our web page at this point, we already have an H3 element. Let's go ahead and select that element and do something really simple with it. We can simply change the color of that element. So let us use our $sign, which is used to access jQuery, and to select an element we have to open up our colon, and here we can see our IntelliSense telling us we need a selector string for our element. So in this case our element is an H3 tag, so we can simply type H3 and we can hit our chain operator. So we're going to chain our action to this selector now. So you can see we have a host of different jQuery actions that we can select. We can add classes, we can, of course, we have our Ajax calls, we can do animations, we can append text to our element, we can blur things, and you can really scroll through and take a look at some of these actions, right? We can fade in and out and a ton of different stuff. So right now we just want to simply change our CSS color, so we're gonna type in color and put a comma, and let's just simply change our text to red. So let us save this and go to our document and let us refresh it. Okay, so we're not getting a change in our code, so let's recheck our script. Here we have our jQuery selector document.ready function. Here we are selecting our H3 element, and then we are chaining our action, which is changing this element's color to red. Okay, so let's make sure we save this, make sure it is saved, and refresh. Alright, so still no change. So one thing we can do is inspect our web page, of course. So we are going to debug our first error. Alright, so of course here we have the structure of our web page. This is our head and our body, and in order to debug our page, we can see here that we have two errors in our web page. Okay, so we can click on console, and here we're seeing failed to load resource. The server responded with a status of 404 not found, and it's saying it cannot find our jQuery file. Okay, so it's also giving an uncaught reference error. Our jQuery selector is not defined, so of course it's going to have this error if it's not able to find our jQuery file. Alright, so let's go back to our code. We have our script or source. We're pulling in jQuery. So let me press Control and click unable to open jQuery version 3. Unable to read the file. File not found. Oh, we are missing our .js extension. Alright, so we should be able to click on this link. Right, so now it is opening up our jQuery file. So let's make sure we save this now. And if we come back to our web page and refresh, right, so now we get the change that we're looking for, and our errors have disappeared from our console. Okay, so just make sure that you're importing that jQuery file correctly, or you will get errors. And if in the case that you do get an error, you can simply right click on the page, go to inspect, and click on the console tab and ensure that you read that error message that's popping up, if there are any in that console. So if we wanted to really specify a certain color, maybe a color scheme that a company uses, we can always find some CSS colors. And if we wanted a gold, for instance, we can simply copy the hex code along with the hashtag, copy it, and instead of just typing in the word, we can specify that hex code, save it, and let's come back and refresh this. Right, and now we get that gold color. Alright, so this was a lesson in showing you how to select an HTML element. We'll get deeper into selecting different attributes and doing different types of CSS modifications to those elements. Alright, so see you in the next course, in the next lesson.